This week, we focus on the running record, which is another assessment task from the observation survey. Barbara Fox tells us on page 15 of our text, quote, "Good readers monitor their own comprehension, decide when to self-correct a misidentified word, and should readers correct a misidentified word, cross-check to ensure that the word they corrected makes sense in the reading context." Self-monitoring, self-correcting, and cross-checking, when used together, are powerful tools for ensuring that the words children read are consistent with the reading context, end quote. Wow. So there may be some new vocabulary in there for you, such as self-monitoring, self-correcting, cross-checking. Those terms will make sense to you by the end of the week, and if they don't, please let me know. This week, we will read to gain knowledge of the kinds of information that readers use. We will apply this knowledge through practice, and we will use an assessment tool, the running record, to record this information and discover the kinds of cues readers use. Clay states on page 14 of our text that reading, like thinking, involves complex processing. The reader has to produce responses to the words the author wrote. In some way, the reader has to match his or her thinking to that of the author. Good readers reduce their uncertainty about what they are reading by asking themselves very effective questions as they read. They know when they are more or less on track. On the other hand, poor readers ask themselves rather trivial questions and waste their opportunities to reduce their uncertainty. They do not put the information-seeking process into effective sequences. Readers need to find and use different kinds of information in print and combine the information they find with what they carry in their heads from their past experiences with language. Now, a competent reader uses meaning, structure, and visual cues to stay focused on the message of the text. A meaning cue may come from the text that they've read. It may come from the illustration. A prompt that you would use would be, does it make sense? Structure cues are the semantics. Does it sound right? Can we say it that way in English? Visual cues have nothing to do with illustrations. Visual cues are when a word the child says visually looks similar to the actual text. So a prompt would be, does it look right? Again, visual cues have nothing to do with the illustrations. It's all about the print. Does the word look like the word in the text? A reader at risk of having difficulty in learning to read tends to rely on only one source of cues. For example, the reader may only attend to initial letters of a word, neglecting the meaning of the text. When I was in the classroom and I was doing guided reading and running records every day, I had a student that was not making the progress that I was really hoping for. So I sat down with my teacher leader with running records, and wow, it jumped out at me from the running records that, one, I was only prompting the child to use visual cues. I was constantly asking, does that look right? So once I started asking, does it make sense? Does it sound right? Then the child started incorporating all of the cues. So this is why systematic observation, a running record of what a child can do, is so important. This week, we will explore the meaning, structure, and visual cues that readers use. This will help us to understand the kind of letter-sound cues a reader uses and where instruction can take place. There are several resources here for you on Moodle. And I know that I've said this before, but not all videos on YouTube are created equally. Some are very good examples, and some are horrible examples. Rhonda Hayes' videos on YouTube are excellent videos on running records. I believe there are 8 videos, and this gal knows her stuff. So if you want more information, check out Rhonda Hayes on YouTube. Now, this week, you're going to be taking these little, for lack of a better word, assessments about using information in print. Those scores are not part of your grade. But what that will do is help you to practice deciding if the child's using meaning, structure, or visual. And in the quiz, it tells you the justification for using the cue that's used. You're going to be analyzing the cues for goats are great and looking for strengths and weaknesses that this child uses. Your phonics lab for this week is to continue working with your student and complete any assessments that we've talked about. Continue to keep your lab time sheet as well as any other notes or observations, as all of that is part of your final project. Don't wait until week 8 and go back to week 2 and try and remember. It's not going to happen. Your lab sheet should reflect your tutoring hours, which needs to be 10 hours face-to-face with your student and 10 hours of preparation and research. Also, give us some details about your experience with your student or any questions that you may have. Talk about your work with the assessments. What did you discover? What lessons have you tried? You do not have to respond to your peers unless you choose to for the lab. Be sure and post in the forum for your lab this week. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I can't help you if I don't know you have questions. Thank you.